Welcome to the Research Works podcast, brought to you in association with the Healthy Strides Foundation. Your hosts are Dr. Dana Poole
and Dr. Ashley Thornton, and we're here to interview world-leading researchers, clinicians and people with lived experience
to support your practice in being more evidence-based. Welcome back, everyone. We said to you that we would provide you with some holiday specials, and that is what we are about to do once again. Thank you so much for joining us. It is 2026. We're at the beginning of a really exciting year, and we have a lot of conferences that we're going to this year. And the first one to really get us going is happening just around the corner in March. And we thought to give us a bit of a preview for that, we'd give you an episode with some very, very great guests that are all behind making this conference a reality. And this way you can really consider whether you want to come along to the conference. And from all accounts, this is looking to be very fun and very exciting. And the best thing about this is it's a new year, so it's also a new name. So what was known as the Oz ACPDM conference is now the Oceania Academy of Cerebral Palsy and Other Childhood Onset Disabilities, or Oceania for short. So to kick us off and to talk about this conference, we've got the co-chairs of the conference committee. Welcome, Leanne Seksushki and Gayla Kilgore, both from the Queensland Cerebral Palsy and Rehabilitation Research Group. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on the other side of the screen here so we can talk about this conference. And, whenever people think about going to a conference, there's so much to consider. I know I get really excited about it because you get to really be, all the fresh and new information and the networking that you get for it. But, each conference has its own flavour as well. So can't wait to ask you more about this upcoming conference. But before we do, of course, we're going to have our icebreaker. And I know the icebreaker question is always the one that people get most nervous about, but I think this is a fun one to kick us off. So the question that I have, given we're talking about conferences, is what is your favourite conference story or highlight? Leanne, you're nodding your head. I'm going to go straight to you. What is your favourite conference story or highlight?
Well, I was thinking back to one in Stockholm at the International Cerebral Palsy Conference, and I can't remember the exact year, so sorry for that. But the highlight wasn't so much the conference, which was actually amazing, but a whole group of us went to the ABBA Museum, and there was this really cool sort of interactive piece where we all got up and we sang with the holographs of ABBA. Oh. And it was like karaoke style. And I have to say, I am the worst singer in the world. I cannot hold a note. You couldn't pay me to hold a note. And so I was up there so embarrassed, like with this probably strangled cat singing along to ABBA, but it was so much fun.
I love the way you tell the story, Leanne, but that sounds like a whole lot of fun and out of your comfort zone. But I love that you even got up there and sang as well. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was challenging.
That sounds brilliant. And I love how the story is not about the conference, but, a conference, what makes the experience is the people you get to go with. Hey, it's actually really fun.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll keep that in mind about ABBA. That's what gets you singing. Kayla, what about you? What's your favourite conference story or highlight?
So mine's on singing as well, which also is not a highlight of me, but just 2 years ago at the Cairns conference, we had a workshop, a Pacifica workshop, and with people from Vanuatu and Fiji, and as part of opening their sessions and closing their sessions, they have song, and so we sang a song and had a prayer at the start and at the end, and so it was just a really beautiful experience, which I hadn't experienced at a Oceania conference before, and so I think it was just a really lovely introduction, and also with our name change, really representative of that. So, so not the same as ABBA, but still a lovely singing experience.
I feel like we now need to make sure there's some sort of singing element in the upcoming conference. I don't know. I mean, you guys are the committee.
Talk to the chairs.
Not me.
I love that. Ed, I'm going to go over to you. You started going to a few conferences lately as part of the podcast.
I have.
Do you have a favourite conference story?
Oh, look, I think there's lots of stories to tell. Probably ones we shouldn't tell on the podcast. But the one that is definitely G-rated is, it's slightly embarrassing, actually.
Embarrassing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been to a few of these conferences now, and I tend to be that that low register voice that appears on the podcast for a couple of minutes every episode, and no one actually gets to see who I am. So I've turned up to the conferences doing my producer ed role, and I am getting requests for selfies and autographs, and it's a bizarre kind of, yeah.
How cool is that though? You do look very surprised. I do remember when that happened.
I was very embarrassed and went crimson red. So.
Yeah. I remember the first people who did it. It was Hercules Lecce and Paula Shagger. So shout out to you. I do remember that. And he was bright red, which is not an easy thing to do given his complexion. But good story. Nice one. Well, you'll have more opportunities for that this year, Ed.
Let's hope not.
Well, I do need to share my conference story that there's so many great stories, and there's some that are just super embarrassing. There's some that are super fun. And the one that comes to mind, I don't know if you guys remember this one, Leanne, I think were you there for this one? It was at the Eiffel Tower. It was Paris 2019 EACD, pre-COVID. It was a whole lot of fun. And the conference dinner was at the Eiffel Tower, which was just bizarre. And I remember going up there, having met a lot of people. This is, pre-podcast life as well, and would meet people for the first time. And I remember just how surreal it was being at that platform. We're like, oh my goodness, we're researchers. And here we are at the Eiffel Tower having the greatest meal. And then now it's just great because, I call all these people my friends, and we have just got to know each other over time, and you meet at conferences from all over the world, and you look forward to seeing each other again. That's the power of like the networking that you do get from it. And I remember how nervous I was to start off with because I didn't know anyone, like the years before when you first go, and everyone's just really nice. So that's my first thing I'll say to people. If you're thinking about going to the conference, you're not sure if you know anyone, it doesn't matter because everyone is so friendly and wants to get to know you, and you'll end up being friends. So that's how I'll lead into the segue to the first question. And the first question I have is about the name change, actually, which I think is a very cool name change. Leanne, I'm going to give this one to you. What prompted the, Oz ACPDM, which I need to say and, work out what each of the letters mean, to Oceania? What prompted that? And how did that come about?
Really two reasons. One, Oceania really is a better reflection of the region that we're in. So a region isn't only Australia and New Zealand, but it encompasses the three big major cultural regions of Melanesia, Micronesia and Polynesia. So Oceania really reflects our geography. Childhood onset disabilities really reflects that diversity of childhood disability beyond cerebral palsy. So there are many other conditions. And also, whilst it might be a childhood onset disability, they are lifelong. And so that name change really encapsulates that as well.
Yeah, that's so important, isn't it? And I think that shift is so vital for researchers and so many of the families to know that's the case too, because this conference is really for them, and there's a place for everyone. I love that. Gail, over to you now. So this is the 13th conference, and it's biennial. So it happens every 2 years, and the whole conference has been going around for a few decades now. In your opinion, what makes this conference not just like any other conference? When conferences come and go, what makes this one to you something that's really unique and one to think about?
I think there's a couple of things. One is the diversity of people attending. So it's not just a clinicians conference, it's for researchers, academics, teachers, doesn't matter what profession, what scope of practice. But also, really importantly, it's now open to anybody with lived experience. And so not only are we seeing people with lived experience as attendees, but also being part of presentations. And it sort of shows the shift in our work towards co-design and really being inclusive and family-centred. So I think that's really lovely. Yeah. This year we have 28 countries represented in speakers, and so that shows the diversity of the geography that we're, encouraging to come and present, and 35 different countries represented in participants. Wow. And the other thing is that we're really committed to it being a hybrid conference. So if you are anywhere in the world, or even in Australia or New Zealand or in the Pacific, and you're not able to attend, well, then we really want people to still get the same advantage from the conference. And so, not only are we diverse in the people who can attend, but also trying to make it able to be attended by anybody.
Wow. That is so fantastic, isn't it? Because what that means on so many levels is all the barriers that are usually set up that can stop people from attending, whether it's cost, time to be able to go to these things, or whether it's feeling like this is a conference for them, in where I am in life, whether it's with lived experience as a clinician, as an educator, we're just really opening it up for more people to come along, which I really love. And I feel like that's really reflected when I look at the keynote speakers. The keynote speakers often really tell about the flavour of what we'll be talking about, the scope. And when I look to the keynote speakers for this particular conference, it is very wide-ranging. Leanne, I mean, in your role with Gail as well, with the committee, you would have done a lot of work looking at which keynote speakers to invite. Can you tell us a little bit more about who these keynote speakers are and why they're invited specifically?
Yeah, so there's 9 keynote speakers, both national and international. And as you mentioned, really diverse topics. So, for example, we've got John Coughlan, who's the Secretary General of the International Cerebral Palsy Society and Cerebral Palsy Europe, and also parent of a young adult with CP. And he's really talking about working with families, professionals, and also the World Health Assembly. So really big picture international stuff. We've got Dr. Melissa McCradden. Now, she's an AI expert. And AI is such a salient topic at the moment.
Yes, it is.
And she's talking about, the worldwide use of AI in medicine and really looking at through an ethical lens, which will be fascinating. Then we've got Dr. Lynne McKinlay. She's a paediatric rehab specialist who I actually worked with clinically for many, many years.
Awesome.
And she's going to talk about hope and how hope can reduce burnout when it comes to us as clinicians working with people with disability. Riley Saban, who's a young man with lived experience of CP, who is an international disability advocate and really talks a lot about inclusive design and assistive technology.
Wow.
We've got Jennifer Ryan from the UK, an expert in physical activity, but also with that from childhood to adulthood perspective of healthy lives and healthy service delivery. Julian Troller, again, someone we haven't had before, I don't think, who leads a nationally funded Centre of Research Excellence in Intellectual Disability.
Wow.
And then we've got actually our own adjunct Professor Sarah McIntyre, who's giving the Dinah Ready operation, and we don't know what she's going to talk about. So that's going to be very interesting, and she's always such a fantastic presenter. So I can't wait to hear what she has to say.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yes, very diverse group, and I think there's something in there for everyone.
I love that, and that's the beauty of conferences like this, isn't it? Is you're starting to really broaden the scope, because more and more our work is involving so many different stakeholders now, especially when we're thinking about co-design, right? It's not usually the same lot of people that you might be sitting close to. It's so much wider, and I feel like that really reflects it. That's really beautiful. And I love what you said about AI as well, because it's everywhere. We need to understand it more.
I know. And actually, I did miss out talking about Sue Wolfenden, who is going to be giving the presidential address on equitable access to developmental pediatrics in Fiji. So again, reflecting this change of our name to Oceania. So that will be really interesting as well, I think.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. It's more than just the keynotes, isn't it? That really bring that new insight and inspiration, I think. The other part that I really love about conferences, which is usually so jam-packed, is the pre-conference workshops and the breakfast sessions. I know that sometimes they can seem like these nice add-ons, to do that extra or wake up that little bit earlier. But I must say I love them in particular because you get to dive a little bit deeper into topics and be in a room or in a session with people who are quite like-minded. So a lot of learning happens from that. So I'd love to hear from both of you. Maybe Gail, if you want to start, tell us a bit about the instructional courses and what are some of the things that really jump out at you of courses that people should consider.
Can I start with the pre-conference workshops?
Yeah,
is that okay?
Go for it. Yeah.
So it's a little bit different this year. Often we ask for abstract submissions, but for the pre-conference workshops, we've actually shoulder-tapped key people, and we've said we've had really significant interest in these areas, and we think you're the leaders in this field, and then they've shoulder tapped other leaders. And so together we're going to have these amazing 6 pre-conference workshops where we're going to have sort of the experts in the room all brainstorming, all contributing. So on the Tuesday, if you're thinking about coming early, we've got a session on empowering families and one on research to reality, looking at assistive technology. And then the afternoon, what works, so looking at evidence-based therapies and really take home, if you're a clinician, take home about what you can use the next day, and also lower limb orthopedic surgery. And then on the Wednesday morning, we've got yarning, looking at First Nations health, and then a session on early detection and intervention. So again, this really huge scope and really practical take-home messages that people can use every day in their research and their teaching and their clinical practice, and as well as families thinking, what can I take away? So we're really excited about those. And then the breakfast sessions, like you said, we have amazing breakfast sessions. Yes, you do have to get up a little bit earlier, but we have breakfast. 6 streams each. Yeah, you get breakfast.
You get breakfast, yeah.
There's 6 streams each morning, and so we have 18 sessions in total. So they can range from pain and sleep to movement disorders to clinical guidelines, working with people with complex needs, working with families, and then also thinking about preterms right through to adulthood. So again, something for everybody in those breakfast sessions. So worth it for the breakfast, but also the content is amazing.
Yeah, that's great. Leanne, what about you? What's your perspective on the breakfast sessions and the pre-conference workshops?
The same. I think there's a really diverse spread of topics. So again, on every single day that the breakfast sessions are on, there'll be something for everyone.
Yeah.
And so it's really good value for money. I think they tend to be a little bit more interactive sometimes, which I think is really great.
Yes.
But I think that, that it's very focused topic areas, and you get a lot more detail. They're excellent to go to.
You're absolutely right about the interactive component. So I am presenting with Brian Hoare about for a breakfast session. And, part of writing the abstract was like, what is going to be the interactive component? And, people had to pre-think about that and what that would look like so that we can engage with the participants, but also really clear learning objectives. There's a clear purpose moving into each of them. So they're really well thought through, aren't they, in terms of what the learning points would be. And I would say I've registered for some breakfast sessions. It's not that much more. I think it's for Australian dollars, it was an extra $30 to add in and you get your breakfast. So I thought that was a highlight, but I'm very food driven. So, you have food there, I'm going to be there. The other thing about conferences that I love is the fact that you get to hear new information for the first time, things that have not necessarily been published. They have been reviewed by the scientific committee. We get to hear about things first up. So I guess, Gayla, what do you think about that when it comes to new information coming out? Is there anything that really stands out to you?
I think, firstly, we always have our PhD platform. So this year we have 3 people as our top award winners, and they'll be presenting on Friday morning.
Right.
And then we also have the top 6 other PhD, the next top 6. So obviously that's hot off the press, PhDs, always enthusiastic in their approach to what they've learned in presenting. So I always think that's amazing.
Yeah.
And the other thing to look out for this year is that we have a new initiative called Skills Labs, and we're running 10 sessions that are really practical, hands-on. They're not very driven. It's not didactic teaching. There's 20 to 30 minutes each one, and people need to sign up for these. The first 30 people get in. The sessions are all free. And if I just tell you what the topics are, there's lower limb, which will be a foot and ankle. And so, for example, that might be how to assess a foot and ankle of a child with a neurodisability, for example. There's upper limb, environmental scanning, feeding, respiratory, communication using AAC, so how to work with AAC users, supporting families. There's a session on activity monitors and what to use and when to use them. There's one on behaviour change, and there's one on implementing play.
Wow.
And so these won't be the didactic, this is what we did, this is our research methodology, this is come in the room and be prepared to learn about this for your everyday practice. So we're really looking forward to that, but they are going to sell out. So, yeah, we really encourage people to get in there quickly for those.
And do they just register for them online the same way they register for the conference?
Yeah. So they're aimed at sort of beginner to mid-level. So, and we really are trying it to see if it meets the needs of those clinicians who might go, some of the research information is really great, but what do I take home? And so some of this is really take home. Yeah. And we're limiting it at the moment to 2. You can sign up for 2 skills labs, but obviously on the day, if there's spaces.
Right.
So
basically we know they're going to be really popular, so get on in there.
I think so.
Yeah,
we're really hoping that they're really great because we feel like it will just extend the scope of the conference and really, particularly for, like you said, when you're new and you're coming to a conference and you might be a bit not sure, they'll be a really good icebreaker and a lovely way to network with people and learn about other clinicians and learn about what they're doing. And also you'll have a person that's instructing it that are pretty good, they're the experts as well. And then you've got a contact for them. So I think it's a lovely win-win for everybody.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. Leanne, I mean, you've been part of so many conferences now and organised so many conferences. What is it about the new knowledge that makes going to a conference so unique? People might just want to wait for the article to be published, but what makes the conference different in that way?
I think one of the things is that I've always found, and you mentioned this before about making friends, but everyone is so open and happy to share information. And so you have the opportunity to go and actually talk to the people who are presenting and really ask them more detailed questions if something interests you. I think that's one of the important things. I think the other thing is not to undersell all the scientific posters and the demonstration posters. And again, that's a really great way of getting a lot of information around new research out that people can, have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and just wander through and read all the scientific posters. And often the authors are there, so you can again quiz them if you've got specific questions. And I think that's one of the really lovely things around this conference is everyone is just so open and so happy to share their knowledge and information. And everyone is just, very open. So I think it's a really lovely atmosphere. It's very collegiate.
Yes.
Whether you're a novice researcher, clinician, an experienced researcher, you can go up and talk to anyone.
Yeah, that's fabulous. That's so good. And I guess last but not least, the location. The location is always something that I love talking about. It's a great opportunity to travel and see different places. But Leanne, what makes Hobart such a great place for this conference?
Well, you're probably asking the wrong person because I've never been to Tasmania in my life. And so this is a first for me. And I am so excited.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's my perception of what's there. So I didn't realise, and I learnt this from reading the conference website, that Hobart was the second oldest city in Australia. I never knew that.
Wow.
So there's obviously a lot of history there. But also, when people talk about Tasmania, they talk about Cradle Mountain, they talk about the beautiful coastline and the amazing seafood and food and the history. So I think there's a lot of things. And I think really importantly too, this is the first time I believe that Oceania Academy and the previous Oz ACPDM has ever been in Tasmania. So this is a first.
Yeah, that's so good, isn't it?
I am so looking forward to seeing the sights and sounds of Hobart.
Same. And I know that every other conference I've been to, Leanne, most of the time where I bump into you is usually at a cafe or a restaurant pre-conference. So you and I will have the same thing in mind. And I know that Hobart is really well known for their food. So I think booking restaurants would be a really good idea. Gayla, I wonder whether in terms of like the weather, you're a little bit closer to, I do hear it can be on the cooler end. Right now we're all in Australia. Leanne and I are talking in an earlier conference meeting we just had about how hot it is. But Hobart is a little bit closer to sort of New Zealand's. It's a little bit cooler, isn't it?
I think bring clothes for all 4 seasons is what I've been told. Okay. I think lots of people are making the most of taking the weekend before to explore sites and then the weekend afterwards. I know it's a long weekend for some people. So, there's hiking and like Leanne said, there's the cafe. So if you're only cafe person, or you might not need all 4 seasons, but if you are intending to get out and about, apparently it's super beautiful, but spring clothes for all 4 seasons. There might not be too much beach or sea swimming unless you're a little bit braver. So if you live up north, you might not be so brave, I think. But it looks like on the conference website, there's lots of ideas like river cruises and boat cruises and climbing the mountains and all sorts of things. And also there's a section for families and children who may have family members with disability, and there's accessibility options and things like that. So that's a really lovely thing for people to look at if they're not sure whether they should bring their whole family or just them, or so have a look at the website lately and said there's some beautiful things.
That's brilliant. I love how much that's evolved over time. You know, you think about 20 years ago, you wouldn't really think about bringing your family along, but we're so much more thoughtful about that. And from an accessibility perspective, it's just so wonderful. And I know that every conference that we've been to so far, it's always been about what can be inputted into the local community. You know, it's not just about running a conference there, it's about building that up as well and highlighting all the beautiful accessibility elements in that city. Well, thank you so much for talking us through some of the main highlights. There's obviously so much about the conference that people can look into, and you can look at the website for that. We'll pop a link for that in the comments section as well. And I know from our perspective, the podcast is once again going to this conference and having a booth and interviewing some of the researchers and the presenters. And it's always quite hard actually to pinpoint the main ones to start to interview people for, because it's such a great range. And I know I've had difficulty looking through and, approaching people and really selecting the ones that we want to talk to. But I'm super excited for the ability for even myself as a contributor to be able to present some of my work and things that I've been doing. It's so nice to know how things are aligning, because so much of our work is very qualitative and co-design at the moment. Those are the ones being accepted. And when you look at the conference program, you can see that there's some great themes around that. So that I cannot wait to do. But as a final comment now from each of you, if someone's thinking about going to the conference, they're just sort of on the edge, should they go? Should they sign up virtually, go in person? What's the final word from you? Leanne, I'll go with you first. What are your thoughts? What are your final comments?
I mean, I go to a lot of conferences, and I have to say this one is right up there in terms of the scientific content. It's always, top notch. As I said before, everyone's friendly. There's a mixture of interactive, sort of instructional workshops and breakfast sessions. There's just such diversity in the program. We're in an amazing location, in a lovely conference venue, I understand. So I think it's come and join us and make friends with us. We're all very friendly.
Yeah, you'll see us walking around. Just come and talk to us, yes.
Come and talk to us.
That's right. Gayla, any final comments from you about why should I come to the conference?
I just think it's a community, like the Oceania Academy is a community that has consumers through to researchers, clinicians, teachers. So being part of that community actually sets you up for life to have this networking and people that you can approach. And also we now have, special interest groups, adult special interest group, the social work and psychology special interest group, the pain special interest group, EMCR special interest group. So no matter who you are, there will be a little community for you as well as the wider community. So I think you won't regret it in terms of the networking and the collaborations. Then in terms of the learning, like Leanne said, it's so diverse. You're struggling to decide in the program what you come to. That's that's the complaint rather than there's not enough for me.
That's right.
Yeah. So just come and enjoy the whole experience.
And I would say, just in addition, having gone to these for many, many years, every single time it's run, it's better than the time before. It just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
And I think that is, as Gayla said, it's because of the community. And I think it also shows us what amazing research is happening in Australia and in our surrounding Oceania region.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Well, I think that was good reason. I cannot wait for seeing everyone in person and having these great networking chats and topics to talk about. To all of our listeners, look, we'll pop the link for this on our website. Definitely head over to have a look at the conference website, have a look at the keynote speakers and just explore that. There's still time to go. But for more information, like I said, head to our website. We are migrating migrating everything through to researchworks.academy. So researchworks.net's still there, but everything's going to the researchworks.academy, where we'll have all of our episodes listed there. You can search for things really easily. And, there's a lot of interaction there as well with all the different courses and things we've been providing since the last holiday episode. There's been heaps of you that signed up for it. So hopefully you're enjoying going onto that free website to get some of those resources as well, because we've designed them for you. Since our last episode, I might put in a little ad there. We have been working on developing some proof of concept games, which you can use your camera for. It's pretty cool. There's like Pong, there's Tetris, there's a few different games and racing car games, which you can use switches for as well. And that's all free. So proof of concept, have a go at it. So head to researchworks.academy. But for now, one thing we didn't say, I think, Leanne and Gayla, can you remind everyone of the dates of this conference? When exactly is this conference and the pre-conference workshops?
Yeah, so I think you need to book out the first week in March completely. Monday to get there, the Tuesday and the Wednesday pre-conference workshop, and the conference opens. Yes. And it goes until Saturday at lunchtime. So all of the first week of March, you should be in Hobart.
Perfect. I love that. Wonderful. Thank you so much for making sure everyone knows where they need to be. To all of our listeners, look, our season will start up very soon. As you can hear from the dates, we'll pretty much start up when the conference starts. So that's how our season will start. We're going to start with a bang with all conference episodes coming your way. But for now, thank you, Leanne, and thank you, Gayla, for joining me on this episode. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of our listeners. We'll chat to you all again very soon. Bye.